Speaking of minorities, now this was a Christian woman. Now that's how Christians are treated in Pakistan. Every step of the way, they're worried, they're scared. Ghalib Kamal, who's an ex-Christian Pakistani, he has countless stories. He actually told me a story of one of his very close, I'd say, friend or a relative, whoever. I don't want to narrow it down. So he had a big plaza. He owned a bunch of shops, the whole building. He owned this, so he was doing very well. And his competitor, who happened to be a Muslim, he wanted to buy his shops. He wanted to buy his plaza, as they like to call it. And he was like, "No, I'm not going to give it. I'm not going to give it." And he was actually harassed and was told that, we're going to accuse you of blasphemy and all of that, blah, blah, blah. So he was harassed for a number of months and eventually gave up, and he sold it for pennies, for 10% of what it was worth. It's a common story. I went to a Christian school in Pakistan. I know how scared teachers and a token one or two Christians who were in the class, how scared they were. I have often the story in my 8th year or 9th year, I think it was 7th or 8th class. There was this Christian boy. There was a chapter called Bond of Islam in the social studies class or something. Bond of Islam. So bond also rhymes with the word bund, which means ass. So this Christian boy said, "Ass of Islam," and he had an inside joke and he chuckled a little bit. And he said that to his fellow Christian. Because there were only two Christians who used to sit with each other, and they were the best friends of each other. So Muslim overheard it, and I was in there too, and we were so angry. "No, Mister! Oh yeah, we're gonna punish him." And then he called the boy. He brought him forward and he slapped him a couple of times. And now I know why he did it. He did it because he wanted to calm the crowd down. And we were not some mindless people, we belong to a good, middle class families. So we weren't like those mindless jerks, the ones that you just saw in the video before. So we were calmed in that sense. So it didn't get out of hand. So my point is, Christians, Hindus are living in absolute terror. Basically, they're literally living in terror. And with this climate of accusing other people of blasphemy, no one is safe. No one's going to be safe. I shared a video of a Sunni cleric who was killed by another Sunni cleric because he accused him of blasphemy. Because he's in a debate, he said something which he was like, "Oh, this is blasphemy." There was another. I shared the video, a photo of a person who used to an ordinary Sunni Muslim who used to accuse other people of blasphemy on Facebook. He was eventually beaten up on the accusation of blasphemy. Now he was a Sunni as well. A few months ago, there was a Sunni guy who was. There was a Sunni who was killed, a bank manager. He was killed by his own guard because he also said the same thing. He accused him of blasphemy. Okay, Sid Davis saying, which Muslim country allows Muslim women to marry non-Muslim men? It is like apartheid that you cannot marry Muslim women in an Islamic state. That's true. Right. So I was telling you a story of a couple of episodes ago. I shared a story of two Ahmadis were in prison, were arrested because they're married to Sunni Muslim girls, because they're supposed to be kafirs, infidels. Hence, they're not allowed to fall in love with Muslim women. Oh yeah, Robert. It happens all the time. There are literally countless stories that you would never hear because they would never come. They would never come to surface. So it happens all the time. I promise you, there's absolutely no exaggeration in that. They bully people, Christian businesses, a lot of these people. And this is the reason why you see Christians in Pakistan. They usually just, clean toilets and they have jobs of janitors. Even they advertise jobs of janitors, and it has a little term and condition written at the bottom with the asterisk that Muslims cannot apply for this job. Only Hindus and Christians, and in Punjab mainly they are Christians, so only Christians apply for that job. All right, so that was Christian special. So what happens to Christians and what happens to churches in Pakistan? Now let's get on to Pakistani's other second favorite punching bag. In Punjab, it's Christians. In Sindh, Hindus are upgraded to number one punching bag status. I have covered now countless amounts of girls who have been underage girls who've been kidnapped. They disappear, and then a few days later they turn up as would have been okay in any other country but Pakistan, because I told you they arrest people who are non-Muslim, and then they don't even try to convert them to their religion, and then they get married, such as the couple of Ahmadi brothers that I spoke about just earlier. So that's hypocrisy. Now, Pakistanis underneath this story shamelessly saying, well, if two adults marry willfully and, there's no forced conversion, forced marriage, then, it's fine. But if the roles are reversed, if a non-Muslim man marries a Muslim girl, what about then? Or a non-Muslim girl marries a Muslim man but doesn't convert to Islam, what then? I think they might let that one go because it's a woman, it's the honor culture kind of thing. But no, a non-Muslim man can't marry a Muslim girl. So that's hypocrisy. That's why it would still be condemnable in Pakistan, because as some Hindus in India, they call it love jihad, and they say, well, why do you have to convert to Islam then? So in case, even if she did do it out of her own free will, I would say that he should still be arrested. The girl should be, they should be forced to divorce each other, because that's against the law. That should be against the law in Pakistan. To help me produce more videos like these, support me on Patreon or PayPal.